There you see on the left-hand side, it's Dalton Ozmun. We have his archetype a secret. I'll tell you right now, it's Simic Ramp, taking on Will Pulliam, Amulet Titan. Craig, what do you think of the Simic Ramp deck? This is kind of our first look at it thus far today. We saw it a little bit yesterday in the hands of Becky Adelman.
So when we call this Simic Ramp, it's just the Titan deck, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not playing all of the Karus. It's leaning much more heavily on Field of the Dead.
Correct. Hour of Promise to get a big Field of the Dead explosion, 3 copies of Field of the Dead.
And there's Oko, which is the big difference as well.
Correct. So, I think this deck has a tough time justifying itself when other decks exist. I think you can make a case that Amulet Titan does a bunch of things better than this deck does. I think you make a case that Valakut does a bunch of things better than this deck does in a very similar vein. But let's see if Dalton Ozmun can prove me wrong. Will Pulliam getting up to shenanigans already. Primeval Titan on the battlefield thanks to Castle Garenbrig.
Yeah, I would say that this Simic Titan deck, it can consistently cast Oko when it wants to,
True.
Which can be a problem for some of these other decks that you're talking about. They don't even play Oko at all. And also, I think the real bad draws that we see out of Amulet Titan and Valakut decks sometimes, where they just peter around for a while, they don't do anything, they don't draw the 1 key card. This deck has a little bit more consistency.
I would agree with that. Much lower fail rate. You also get to max your Castle Garenbrigs if you want.
Tons of Castle Garenbrigs.
4 copies for Dalton Ozmun. And you see it playing a huge role in casting this Primeval Titan. It's going to go ahead and get a Ghost Quarter. We also have our Field of the Dead online. A couple of Justin Parnells coming down. Since he hasn't made a land drop yet, Ghost Quarter is going to be untapped. Able to mess with Will Pulliam. Will's got a pack to pay for. Ultimately just going to go after that Talaria West. Will goes and gets Snow-Covered Forest. Going to get an attack with this Primeval Titan.
Yeah, not very often that we see Primeval Titans staring at each other from across the board.
Yeah. Now the question is, can Will afford to take the attack here? Hard to say with Dalton Ozmun already having zombies at the ready. You don't actually have to give up your Primeval Titan to make an effective block, assuming Will can't get up to anything else. Is going to attack with Primeval Titan. That's going to grab Field of the Dead, Vesuva. Looks like we're copying one of Dalton's lands with that Vesuva. Make sure we get some zombie triggers. I believe it was Simic Growth Chamber that was copied. Zombies are going to block Primeval Titan. Azusa going to come down for Will, and getting up to some zombie shenanigans is Will Pulliam. Passes the turn back to Dalton Ozmun. This Titan is going to get some work done on this attack. I expect a lot of zombies to be in the mix. Is it going to be enough to overcome Will?
Ooh, okay.
Second Primeval Titan.
I thought we might be looking at Hour of Promise, but this is basically the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Another Field of the Dead, Misty Rainforest. The zombie count rapidly increasing. Primeval Titan going to go ahead and do another attack. I expect another Field of the Dead here.
Yeah, this is a zombie explosion.
A zombie apocalypse, would you say? And look at that grab from Dalton Ozmun. Westvale Abbey showing up. Haven't seen that one since its time in Standard. Good way to close the game out if you've got a lot of sacrificial fodder lying around.
Is it a zombie apocalypse if there's also zombies fighting back from the other side?
A zombie war?
Yeah.
That's even more terrifying than a zombie apocalypse. So Will doing his best here to keep up with the zombie hordes. Using that Secure Tribe Scout to put in a land at the end of Dalton's turn. But we're going to need a big turn here from Will Pulliam. Going to go ahead and read Westvale Abbey. I don't blame you, Will. It's been a minute. Of course, capable of turning into a 9/7 flying lifelink nonsense machine.
Nonsense machine.
I believe is the text on that card. Here's another Primeval Titan for Will.
These are the fun games where both players just get to do everything they want to do.
Yep.
And the decks smash into each other and you see what happens.
Zero interest in accounting for each other's plans. Double Simic Growth Chamber is the grab for Will. Makes sense with access to a ton of land drops via Azusa, as well as that Secure Tribe Scout. Yeah, I think we're kind of doing it as far as dealing with the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, are we? I have no idea.
I think Will has Ghost Quarter now, able to answer that Westvale Abbey. So this is just like a somehow weird fair game of Magic?
Where each player has 20 creatures, but this is the fair game.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on battlefield, trading Primeval Titans back and forth. What a world. One card left in hand for Dalton.
What does Slayer's Stronghold do?
Plus 2/0 Vigilance Haste.
Okay. And then it's the Sunhome that gives double strike.
Correct.
Oh,
how about a Summoner's Pact?
Come on.
And how about Craterhoof Behemoth? That's going to make a real big battlefield, and Dalton Ozmun takes down Will Pulliam in game 1. I love Craterhoof Behemoth in these decks. I would go as far as to say it's a mistake to not play it. I have seen lists without it. I think this situation comes up more than you would expect.
Okay.
And Dalton just able to go over the top of Will Pulliam here. Why don't we poke around a little bit in the sideboards? I'll hit you with a little bit of Will Pulliam's sideboard. We're looking at an Engineered Explosives, a Ramanap Excavator, Reclamation Sage, a Tireless Tracker, 2 Beast Within. That's a big get for Will Pulliam. 3 Dismember, 3 Mystical Dispute, a Field of the Dead, a Radiant Fountain, and a Tectonic Edge. Craig, anything you're interested in if you're Will Pulliam?
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Beast Within, it's just the most versatile possible card. Being able to answer both lands and creatures with Beast Within just makes it a very, very tempting get. The Tech Edge, I think that we saw the way that these games play out. There's just so many lands on the board. Being able to blow up the key ones is important.
Yep.
I could see this other Field of the Dead coming in. A lot of the fight was over zombies on the ground.
That all makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I love any of these other options here.
Meanwhile, over on Dalton's side, we're looking at a Damping Sphere. Nice to have access to that card. Reclamation Sage, Thragtusk, March of the Machines. Okay.
This is an oldie but goodie.
3 Dismember, 3 Mystical Dispute, 2 Veil of Summer, a Malira Sylvok Outcast, and 2 Ashiok Dream Renders. Craig, what do you want to do if you're Dalton?
Well, I definitely like the Ashiok Dream Renders, and then it's a question of, are you worried about the amulets out of the opponent's deck? Do you want those Reclamation Sage to answer that, or is it potentially just too slow? The Damping Spheres, is that a card that you're really interested in against all the Karus?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am very sold on Damping Sphere. Granted, Amulet Titan can often find ways to play through it, but it is effective at slowing them down, for sure. March of the Machines, very cute sideboard card. Not familiar with that. 3 colorless, 1 blue enchantment. Each non-creature artifact is an artifact creature with power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost. Nice Engineered Explosives.
Well, back in the day, this was a big card for control decks to play against the affinity decks.
Okay.
Because this was before all of the artifact lands were banned.
Right, so you just blow up all their lands.
So yeah, it just Wrath of Gods them.
Not bad.
Not Wrath of God, Armageddon's them. Getting my old school cards confused here. And then it's just on the board for the rest of the game. And it was also played in conjunction with Darksteel Ingot?
Yeah, Indestructible.
Yeah, is that the 3-drop?
Yep, Indestructible 3/3, very nice. Over on Will Pulliam's side, just looking to develop mana. Dalton did have turn 1 accelerant in the form of Arboreal Grazer. Will Pulliam unable to deploy that Sakura Tribe Scout until turn 2, I believe.
Ooh, we like this.
Here's Damping Sphere for Dalton Ozmun. It's worse than it used to be against the Titan decks. Still fine, though.
Yep.
Let's see how that affects.
Yeah, there used to be so many Karus in this deck.
Yep. Castle Garenbrig has reduced the need for that.
It's wild how many problems that card solved.
Really did. Gonna put some lands onto the battlefield with Sakura Tribe Scout. Azusa says, how about a couple more lands? Does Will have them in hand? Yeah, gonna play Golgari Rot Farm.
You mean a Wastes?
A Wastes. Redeploy Castle Garenbrig. Yeah, Will would be going off right now if not for that Damping Sphere. Certainly blunting his enthusiasm a little bit. I will say Dalton's deck is a very resource-intensive deck. You need to get enough together to be able to cast your Primeval Titan. Once you've cast a Primeval Titan, all your resource needs are met. But getting to that point can sometimes be resource intensive. So Damping Sphere does have a cost, but here's another nice sideboard card for Dalton. It's Ashiok. Will's plan starting to be effectively messed with, I would say.
And I like the little bit of synergy where the Arboreal Grazer is such a great defender.
Yeah. Playing a little defense, keeping that Ashiok alive. Will's going to go ahead, activate that Sakura Tribe Scout. Drops a Tech Edge onto the battlefield. Wants to get to work with that immediately.
All right.
Picking off a breeding pool. And plays a Ramanep Excavator.
Oh.
Nice. So going to be able to grab both lands from the graveyard immediately thanks to Azusa. Has Tech Edge at the ready. I mean, Dalton's not going to get above 4 lands in this game.
Yeah, this is very close to just Excavator Strip Mine. Or Crucible of the World Strip Mine.
Sure.
If you're from back in the day.
Yeah, when your key spell costs 6, being trapped at 4 matters a lot. Here's Once Upon a Time. Let's not forget Dalton, with access to a few other game plans, not entirely reliant on Titan, can go to the Oko plan, should he find one. Just going to grab a land.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this is a match where you side out the Okos.
Saw one when he was Once Upon a Timing.
Okay.
I think as a measure to control Primeval Titan, it's totally fine. Now, granted, a Primeval Titan that has already done its thing is painful, but if it attacks, the game is usually over.
Yeah, it's possible Oko is just way too versatile. It is another answer to Amulet of Vigor in a pinch.
Yeah, I think it's fine. We're going to go ahead and cast Once Upon a Time of his own. Sunhome Fortress Allegiance appears to be the option here. No, we're going to go with Slayer Stronghold instead. There's 2 value utility lands.
And now the board is wide enough.
Yeah, everyone's going to start attacking Ashiok.
This is not how I expected this game to play out. After the first game?
This is a weird one, Craig. Dalton not willing to go back to 4 lands, just passes the turn back to Will. Will's going to cast an Explore. Takes his draw, has access to 4 land drops on this turn, totally reasonable number of land drops. But we're just going to attack again. Same blocks, Ashiok down to 1, chipping away.
Poor Ashiok, just getting beat up.
Yeah. Here's a Talaria West from Will. Turn back to Dalton. Dalton looking for a way forward in this match.
Yeah, it's such an awkward spot if you're Dalton, right? You're saying, even if I have something that allows me to be a little explosive, deploy 2 or 3 lands in a turn with Explorers or something like that, Will is still going to untap and be able to Tech Edge me 2 or 3 times on his turn.
Yeah, he's kind of got to get the job done in one shot. Not enough basics to play that game.
Modern Challenge players, your next round pairings are on their way to the blue gathering point. 2 p.m. Modern Challenge players, your next round pairings.
There you see Breeding Pool for Dalton. Going to tap 3 mana. How about a backup Ashiok? Still just trying to slow Will down. Will's going to go to his turn here.
And I feel like we're just... You know, I'm not sure how Dalton draws out of this. Maybe Oko is one of the cards. But in the meantime, it's just like Groundhog Day, where you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
This looks like the same battlefield we've seen for a few turns now. In fact, Will was so sick of it he just left.
Yeah, Will's had enough of this game.
Proceedings for build have been posted at the blue gathering point.
Don't do that, Will. This is better than an Oko mirror. I think. It is, right?
100%.
Okay. I don't know it's good anymore. I feel like I've just been broken by the card Oko. Tectonic Edge doing its thing, controlling Dalton's mana base. And here's an Engineered Explosives from Will Pulliam.
For some number.
Yeah, unfortunately off our camera, and this is not a match we can adjust. This is our time walk match. Do you want to guess what the Engineered Explosives is on, Craig? I'm gonna guess 2.
2.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. Gonna unlock that mana base at some point as Dalton just continues to do nothing. Of note, Will can't find a Primeval Titan anyway, so all of this seems to be for naught. Even if that Damping Sphere and that Ashiok weren't there, wouldn't be going off right now.
He is in a situation where he can use a crew to bounce the Teleria West and then go about it the long way.
Assuming he has one more crew in his hand, which I think he would.
Yeah, he just picked up a Vesuva off of the board.
Does he have appropriate blue mana to accomplish that?
So he has the Teleria West that can tap for blue
Right.
and a breeding pool.
Sure. Okay, I have a feeling that's what we're headed towards very soon. Yeah, and here we go after Ashiok again. This time the job is going to get done. Ashiok is gone. Damping Sphere is gone. All bets are off. Blue mana's floating. There's that breeding pool. How about a little transmuting? And that is finally going to get the concession from Dalton Ozmun. Dalton did a great job of just messing with Will, but unfortunately, you got to get some offense going at some point, and just the combination of Ramanap, Excavator, Tectonic Edge was enough to shut down any potential chance at offense from Dalton Ozmun.
Yeah, that was great.
Well played by Will Pulliam, finding a way out of a prison-esque situation.
Oh, and you know, there's not a whole lot of answers for that Ramanap Excavator.
Yeah, if you're looking at Dalton's option as we head back to the sideboard, I mean, this is just mostly not a deck that wants to mess with removal. There's 3 dismembers in the sideboard, and granted, you can pick off an Azusa, but Azusa does its damage pretty quickly. You can potentially pick off a Sakura Tribe Scout. I would think in the dark, that's not an axis you want to fight this Amulet Titan deck on, but having gotten beaten up so hard by Ramanap Excavator, you got to at least consider it.
No, I think you're still leaning on Oko as your kind of catch-all to those types of situations.
Sure.
So you just leave that in your deck. I don't know if I'd get carried away messing with some of these other cards.
Let's see what Dalton wants to do. It does look like he went back to the sideboard here. Not sure if it's for something like Dismember or how many of them he's looking for. Who you got as we head into Game 3, Craig?
It's hard not to like the play in this situation. They both have very explosive decks, but getting your Titan onto the battlefield first just seems so important.
Right.
Getting the first attack with your Titan feels so important. This is a very play-draw type of situation to me.
Makes sense. I will say, I think the truly explosive draws belong to Amulet Titan. The absolute nuts, Will wins every time. But we know that doesn't happen all that often with Amulet.
I believe over in our feature match area, we had 2 Titans attacking on turn 2 in one of the games.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Why doesn't everyone just play this deck then, Craig?
That's just good, clean Magic right there is what that is.
Yes, it is. And for some reason, Ross Merriam doesn't want to play this deck. What is going on there?
Maybe it's just, maybe it's out of his skill range. Maybe it's just a little too complex.
Wow, Craig throwing fireballs right now. Too complex for Ross Merriam is the judgment on Amulet Titan.
No, I'm saying that's
Someone get a timestamp on this? You want to send this right to Ross Merriam over on Twitter?
It's great that Ross has the ability to identify that.
I think you identified that for him.
Well, he already chose to move away from the deck.
That is true. He has had his fill with Amulet Titan. Will Pulliam has not been playing this deck for a long time. Maybe not quite as long as someone like Edgar Magalhaes or Matthew Dilks. But has won an Open with Amulet Titan as his weapon of choice. That's kind of when he burst onto the SCG scene. And after some consternation, it looks like both players are going to take a mulligan. Will was close to keeping. Held that hand for a long, long time. Ultimately going to put it back, though.
Yeah, I mean, the new mulligan rule just really incentivizes you to be super stingy about, not stingy, greedy. We'll say super greedy about getting the right hand.
Yep. Especially knowing how swingy this matchup can potentially be. Well, I see an Amulet.
Yeah, I mean, both players have to just, you know, be 100% going for as fast of a combo as possible here. And so saying, oh, this hand is good if I draw this one card or these two cards. No. We'll shuffle that away, and we'll keep a hand that is consistently explosive every time.
Pulliam has a turn 3 if he draws Azusa. Let's see if it comes together. Castle Garenbrig going to be the start for Dalton Ozmun. Turn 1, Amulet. Good little start. How about a free Once Upon a Time? If it is free, it is me, Craig. Looks like we have the option of a couple lands or an Arboreal Grazer. I saw some Ashiok in that mix. Not going to be able to grab those at Once Upon a Time. Just going to grab a Forest. White bordered full art forest. Sakura Tribe Elder going to be the play for Dalton Ozmun. Looking to get his ramp on.
Yeah, but this looks very fair compared to the opponents starting with an Amulet of Vigor.
Yeah. Lucky for Dalton. No Azusa at the ready for Will Pulliam.
Yeah, that really would have put things over the top here.
Oh, yeah. Things would have gotten ugly quickly. Just getting word that Drake Sasser continues to play Magic, refuses to draw. Nobody can stop him. He won, by the way, 13-1. Almost certainly locking up #1 seed as we head to our top 8. Not bad. Especially in a format like Modern, play draw super, super impactful. Drake looks like he's going to be on the play for the entire top 8. Here's an Explore from Dalton Ozmun.
These Amulet Titan decks used to be allowed to play Summer Bloom in them.
Yeah, do you believe that? They were straight up broken at that point. There's a reason that card is now banned. So Dalton, a fine clip to do some work with Primeval Titan on the next turn, should he have it. What can Will get up to on this turn? It can't be land pass, it's land pass. That's bad.
Yeah, this is a surprising start out of Will.
Was on a mulligan to 6. Like I said, if he draws Azusa, he just wins. If he draws something like Sakura Tribe Scout, probably is in very fine shape. So sometimes with Amulet, you have to look at your hand, say, okay, I have these 8 outs. This is as best as we're going to do. We can't go down to 5. Let's just live off the top of our deck.
Sure, he's just leaning so hard on this Amulet as well, though. It's been on the board, you know, very vulnerable for several turns now.
Right.
If Dalton just had an Oko one of those turns, he would have elked it up.
Dalton has an Oko in hand, by the way. So at some point, that's going to happen. May not happen now, though, because there's other good options for Dalton, including Hour of Promise and Will Pulliam ready with the Mystical Dispute.
That's an interesting one here, too. Like, I understand just wanting a counterspell when the opponent's generally going to have to tap out to play their most expensive cards. But 3 mana is a lot to be trying to interact with the opponent.
Here's the second amulet. So if we find this Titan, that's 2 untaps of a Vesiva. That's 6 mana.
Yeah, we might be looking at multiple Titans. This game's going to be over.
I mean, it is over unless Dalton does something. This is it. Assuming that there's not key pieces in Will's hand. But there is, though. There's the Vesiva.
But
that changes things.
Even if the key pieces are in Will's hand, I feel like he's going to be so far ahead that next turn he's going to finish the game. Dalton.
He's going to cast the second Titan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dalton's not going to have a Wrath of God next turn to reset this board or something. So Will is just going to be able to completely go off here with these Titans. Sure, he won't be able to attack for the lethal this turn if he's missing what he needs to do that. I mean, he needs a Slayer's Stronghold and the Boros Garrison here, right?
Is the Garrison in his hand? That's what he's looking at right now. I have to assume yes, or he's sideboarded it out. I mean, it's possible one of the pieces is missing, because otherwise that's what you get.
Sure, but and like I said, I don't think it even matters. He's going to get to untap on next turn with 2 Titans, with his 2 amulets, and if he can't win from there, what are we doing?
You assume he's in great shape. He's also going to go ahead and Tectonic Edge Dalton's Simic Growth Chamber, which is very nice. All of this bodes very well. Something happened where he was unable to win here. I don't know exactly what.
Well, we saw him side in the Tech Edge, side in the Remnant Excavator. He has side in some number of the Mystical Disputes. So other cards have to come out of the deck to side these cards in.
Right. Here is Oko. It's going to elk a Primeval Titan. Still another Primeval Titan at the ready here. And you have to assume things about to break Will Pulliam's way.
Well, Will didn't even search for the looping chain where he can search up more Titans, so he's got to have that in his hand.
Yeah, I think I see Talaria West in Will's hand. That, along with Bounce Land, certainly gets some protection. Here's one of those amulet puzzle spots where there is an optimal thing to do here, and it matters a lot exactly what you do. You're probably going to win anyway, though. Like, you want to get to the optimal place. It just doesn't seem like it's going to end up being very important.
Is that a Ghost Quarter?
I believe so, yes. So Will finds Bounce Land, Talaria West. Gonna get a couple zombies now. Cross that threshold. Oh, that is Breeding Pool. Not Talaria West. Dalton lines up some blocks. Looks like Oko's gonna stay alive here.
Yeah, this is so strange to me that... Again, I think the advantage is just so big. We really expected the game to be over at this point, but I think Will's just so far ahead.
Right. The Slayer's Stronghold appears to be in Will's hand. And I think that's what went wrong on the combo turn.
Sure. But he also had the option to get the Sunhome here, which he did not get. Another card that a lot of times gets sided out.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, just scrolled by
there.
it.
Yeah, it's there. So we are going to transmute Talaria West. Goes and gets 1 Summoner's Pact.
Are we doing that now?
No. Don't think so. Looks like Ghost Quarter instead. Dalton going to go ahead, get a basic. turn, passes back to Dalton Ozmun. No cards in hand. Looking for a miracle.
Finding an elk.
That's like a half miracle, right? I mean, turning a Primeval Titan into an elk should qualify as a miracle.
It's a divine work.
It really is. Less divine when you know your opponent has a Summoner's Pact in hand. Another elk ready to go, and enough to clean off this Oko.
Well, it looks like there's an Azusa in the hand as well at this point.
Here's Summoner's Pact, step 1. There's Primeval Titan. Let's cast that one. Primeval Titan. Dalton says sure. There's Boros Garrison. Field of the Dead. Bunch of mana floating.
Bunch of zombies.
Bunch of zombies. Slayer's Stronghold is going to go ahead and point towards Primeval Titan, and that is finally going to get the handshake. Will Pulliam, 11-3.